As usual, we want it to be very practical, something that you can actually work out tonight and then begin to implement tomorrow morning. We don't do too much theory here because we find that many businesses from this our region have a lot of theory. They have gone to business schools, they go to different kinds of programs. I teach as an adjunct faculty in Lagos Business School, in China Europe Business School, and then in the Stanford Seed program, met so many people. These challenges are very common, and the business dinners are usually focused on the things that the little things that the business schools are not covering. So you go there, you learn all those very interesting concepts, but then coming back to implement them in your business is a different thing altogether. Okay, so now I drove around a certain city in Nigeria and I saw thousands, I mean hundreds of abandoned businesses littering the places. You have fueling stations, gas stations, petrol stations that don't function anymore, like literally abandoned. You have houses and places that things were done, real estate abandoned. You have offices, nothing is happening. You have some motor companies and then garages that were once used by some of the big names that don't function again. So dead businesses all over the place. And part of what Mesh and I are doing tonight is to make sure that your business doesn't fall into that statistic. There are so many abandoned businesses. In fact, it's not just in this particular city. Everywhere you go, you find businesses littering the land. And then when you dig into the story of some of those businesses, you find that the promoter, the founder of that business, maybe he's probably dead, died like 25 or 30 years ago. The children are not interested. If the children are doing well, they're probably living abroad and something and then not giving attention to it. Or maybe the children are just not interested. So the business is just there. So now, why do businesses fail? I would like some responses in the chat. Everybody, we usually encourage participation because this is one way that we are able to keep track, of our learning. So why do businesses fail? So please, everyone type in the chat. Okay, no sales, lack of funds, poor business concept, massive, fantastic, lack of funds, massive losses, businesses fail mainly due to poor finance management. Businesses fail because there is no succession plan, lack of technical capacity. Fantastic. Just take a look at the chart. That's what I'm saying, that everyone here, knows. We know what to do. We know what creates problems in businesses. So the issue is not just knowing about it, but how do we deal with it? Architect Innocent says that the biggest culprit is financial management. So everybody just take a look at your incredible answers, because here we have people who are in the field. In the field, I mean that we have practitioners, business owners, you are actually there. So everything you're putting here is right on the money. Lack of structure, bad management, poor financial management. Okay. Yeah, bad location, poor pricing. Fantastic. Okay. I'm going to take a shot of this and then send to all of you in the group, at some point. This is fantastic. Okay. Now, behind all these answers that you have given is a story I'm about to tell you about my own business that failed. All right. And then what you see here is our company, Transformation Hacks Limited. That's our company right now. And then what you see there is our tax clearance certificate, after doing all the taxes, for up till now. Now, and the reason I'm showing you this, two reasons I'm showing you this. It's coming from a story. It's coming from a story. And then number two, the man that was very instrumental to help me to begin to get these things, because I knew them. I knew I should pay taxes. I knew I should develop my financial statements. I knew all this. I knew I needed to understand the financial ratios and to start applying ratios in running my business. I knew I needed to monitor the financial health of my business, but I couldn't do it. And in fact, sitting in the same lecture hall, with finance professors of Stanford University, actually inspired me a little bit more, a lot more, because for 5 or 6 years, and then across several cohorts of the Stanford seed businesses, I listened again and again to lectures by the top finance professors in the world. That was now where it hit me, that the biggest challenge that many of us in this part of the world have, with our businesses, we do not understand finance. The second revelation to me was that finance is the language of business. So if you do not understand that language, your business has no future. I won't be able to emphasize that enough. And then later, I will also share some myths that we have, about finance that keep many of us business owners from not being interested in the subject of finance because we think it is too complicated and we think that it takes time. At least that was my story. That's why I'm sharing this. And looking back at the businesses that failed, my businesses that failed after I left Shell, the single number one culprit was lack of financial knowledge. And then when you don't have financial knowledge, your financial management is going to be very, very poor. And so over the past couple of years, I've learned a lot about finance. As a non-finance person, I had to dig into it to really learn because I discovered that I must master it at the basics, understanding financial statements, and then being able to use financial information to make decisions. So I was in that situation where when we started this new business, Transformation Hacks, I had to approach Mesh. I said, what killed my former business was my lack of knowledge in finance. And then I did not have compliance, with taxation. So two things. Number one was I did not separate, and many of us here are probably culprits. Okay, so that's really where you find the financial health of your business should begin to change from what I'm going to say next. So the number one problem was I did not separate my personal finance from my company finance. And it's not that I didn't know that I should do that, but I didn't know how I was going to be able to do that. And then there were some little intricate details, like if I separate it, what about my rent as the CEO? What about the fuel for my car? What about all these trips I take, internationally and all that? How was I going to structure that, into the tax, whatever? So sitting with Mesh, kind of helped me a lot. Because you see, when I posted this issue about tax compliance on LinkedIn, a couple of people made some, it was on Facebook that a lady said, how can I even pay taxes? Because the cost of electricity is so high and I buy fuel is so high and NEPA problems and all that. And I was like, what business do you have paying for fuel for your business? What business do you have, paying NEPA bills and all this utility for your business? That's the business of your business. And so I understood that because I've come to this place. Now, a lot of people, in fact, not just in Nigeria, even in America, everybody is complaining about taxation right from the beginning of time. Even from 2,000 years ago, when we read about taxation and tax collectors, they were the most hated people in the time of Jesus, very hated. Zacchaeus was one of them. Matthew was one of them. And these people were actually grouped. They used to call them sinners, tax collectors and sinners. So taxation has always had in it some elements of, government high-handedness, oppression. You don't even know what is like in our part of the world. We don't know where our taxes are going. You pay the taxes, but the roads are still the way they are. We don't have water running in our system. We don't have electricity, but you pay all these taxes. So for me, I wasn't trying to be compliant because I typically like the fact that I don't know what the people do with my taxes. But what it did for me, and why everyone sitting in this place should strive to be tax compliant, to pay your taxes, because of what happened to me. Number one, it instills serious accountability. Because to be honest, I was telling Mesh the other day, before I spend 5 naira or 10 naira in my business, and then Williams in my team also knows that, as I'm giving money for, small, what do we call it? These petty cash. I'm saying, keep records. So now, even like Okada trip, even like, okay, some people visited the office and then you buy groundnuts and banana. Those things matter. So now, anything that is coming from the company, there's this serious accountability that, because I know that when I sit with Mesh, who is my auditor, and also tax consultant, because when I sit with him, the questions this guy was asking me and his team were asking me, I felt terribly embarrassed because I didn't have answers. So they looked at my financial statement and then, what is this money for? What did you do with it? I did not know. Now, before you think I'm the only one in this place, so if I've just described your own situation in the chat, please type yes in the chat. Let me just make sure I'm not the only one. So it instilled this accountability, for me. And then number two, it instilled this fiscal discipline. So I just don't spend money anyhow. Okay, so if you experience the same thing, yeah, go ahead and type yes in the chat. See, there you go. Okay, there you go. Yeah, record keeping, very important for business and all that. You see, but we as business owners, often we are too focused on running the business and then these things slip by. So why we should pay taxes is not because I particularly like the government, or I'm an agent of the government, or I'm an agent of FIRS, but because of what it does, for you, number one, and number two, because of what it does for the business. Yeah, I could remember sometimes, when it's like a domestic need or something, like I'm hosting some children tomorrow. So typically, sometimes, before now, I could just say, the company has, there's a lot of money in the company. And you just take money out of the company to host the children. I can't do it. I cannot do it now. And now it is those little foxes that destroy businesses. So, and many businesses here are actually making a lot of money, but we are under financial stress because we can't tell, where is the money coming from? Where is it going? Where are we bleeding? Where can we make savings? So I'm a very happy business owner that I am very, very compliant, and that is helping me to keep the physical discipline. And then you're going to see that later. Now, let me say something. Let me show you some things. This evening on LinkedIn, I said I was going to show you some ancient secret. Okay. So what I'm going to do before I come to the punchline, I'm going to show you a couple of images containing headlines, newspaper headlines in Nigeria from 1937 to the 80s. Now, what I'm going to show you is exactly the same thing if you do it in the US or if you do it in any part of any country. I see that many of you are joining from the US, or you do it from Ghana, or you do it from anywhere. It's what I'm going to show you is exactly the same thing. So I want you to pay particular attention because I'm just going to flash it. I'm not going to dwell on any of the slides. So I want you to look at the headlines. All right. Look at the headlines. As you see the different headlines, newspaper headlines, type in the chat what you are noticing, something common that you're noticing about those headlines, or maybe some common themes, some common elements of what you're going to notice. Okay. Are we ready for that? All right. From 1937. Well, 1937, because that's actually when I believe that the first newspaper in Nigeria was published, which was the West African Pilot. Okay, so look at this one. Okay, so this was from 1949. Okay, look at it very quickly. Make your note. Make your note. Okay. Look at this one from 1956. Zik isn't bothered. Who is going to lead Africa? Our attention to stable economy. So when you see some phrases that are appearing over and over again, please type it in the chat. Okay. Okay. Everything you see that is common, that's appearing, just type it in the chat. 1959. Okay. So sometime in the 1940s. Notice the headlines. And I want you to check the similarity of the headlines with the things going on today. Okay. So this one says Nigerians in chain, 1940. Okay. And this one was on 1st October. Okay. This one was in 1960 as well. This is October 1, 1960 as well. If you see anything that is similar, word or phrases to what also happens today, just put it there. Okay. Treason. Okay. Did anybody see probe? So whatever you see that we still see in our papers today, put it down. This was from 1966. All right. Can you see security measures? Can you see court premises? Can you see probes? Probes. Okay. All right. So this was in 1967 or 1957. All right. Okay, 1967. That was just before the war. And then, ladies and gentlemen, something I found very interesting about the economy, just as a side note, the Nigerian Stock Exchange was very, very active throughout the Civil War. And I found that incredibly interesting. They didn't miss a beat in trading throughout the Civil War. And that should tell you something. Okay? All right? This is Michael Okpara, right? Politics. Okay? All right? Look at the same thing. Supreme Court. Obi of Onitsha. I found this one incredible. This is sit at home. Where is this sit at home happening? And what date? What date in the week? What weekday was it? Did it happen? And this was 1963. Markets closed, school closed, sit at home on Monday. Okay. Horror, probe. Okay. Government to compensate failure. Relationship. Abacha, please mute. Jamil, mute. Okay. Hit list, death of Abiola, hopes and fears for Nigeria. Nigeria, exit of comment, things fall apart. All kinds of, okay. Now, detainees and all that. All right. So here is where I'm going. Look at this one. IMF to where human face. Look at on top of that place, civil servants to declare trade dispute. As we're talking now, I think some people are striking, whether it's not NLC, I think the medical something, they are striking. Yeah, sit at home on Mondays. Okay, somebody put the illegal churches and mosques for demolition. Does that remind you of something? This was something, the same thing, you know? All right, now, Abacha denies deal to refund 1.5 billion loot. And all that and all that and all that. NEPA. 1986 deadline. After 1986, no more blackout. After 1986, no more blackout. Blame. And then when he came, what did he do? He was still blaming middlemen for poor economy. And then look at what soldiers did. Okay, of course, this one politics. plebiscite, a laughing stripped of power, Sikh challenges a war, West House dissolved, primary elections, secession is illegal, okay? Secession, Aburi, Gowon wants Ojukwu, fighting begins, federal troops, explosions, Boko Haram still exploding, come home, come back home, call all Easterners, still the same thing, threat to isolate Nigeria, protest march, Owerri is now captured, how Nigeria spent 61 billion to free blah, 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 South Africa. Now, look at all this. Look at this one. A big pile-up at Apapa quiz. For you people who know Apapa, has this changed? Now, this was 1970, something like early 1970s, okay, in Apapa. Tough check on petrol products. We're still having petrol product problems. B, to control transportation and storage. Okay, look at this one. Weeds overrun rail coaches. Look at this one. Soyinka declared a wanted person. Some 60s, some 1960s, early 1970s. Look at that one. Nigeria will not devalue currency. 7 dangerous men executed in Lagos. You know, so I took my time. Look at this one. I support Biafra. Do you hear the same thing today? Anywhere? Do you hear the same thing today? Why governors are corrupt? 1976. Anti-graft panel. And on and on and on and on and on and on. Okay. So, fuel crisis may be over next year. That was 1977. The other one was 1986. Graduates job loom. Employers complain of worst labor. Nigerian blah, blah, blah. Nigerians' worsening economy leads to another military coup. Do you think we are there? Troops go to markets to force lower prices. Nigeria's worsening economy leads to another military coup. Okay, now. Okay, now. Everything you saw from 1937 till today, is there anything that is happening today? Any of the things, looking at all these things that you're seeing, is there anything happening in 2023 that you did not see between 1937 and now? Please be very succinct. Type in the chat. Is there anything that has happened since 1937 that's not happening today? No, absolutely none. No, you just keep moving. No practical difference in the problem. Same thing, same conversations that we are having with politicians. No. Everyone, no. Yeah, exactly, no. Now, so here's the punchline. And I want you to hear this very clear, from my voice, and let this, what I'm going to say now, ring in your head as you go to bed tonight. If you are waiting for things to improve or change before stepping on your gas pedal, here's the breaking news. You will die waiting. If you're waiting for the economy to improve, for the government to improve, you've just seen since 1937. In fact, you could actually take any of those headlines, if you take any of those newspapers, and then you insert today's date on them, and then you change the different names and the actors, it's exactly the same thing that is happening today. So you cannot wait for a better economy to run a big business, because I've told you people that one of the things that annoy me in my life, and then if you are close to me, you would have actually caught by now you would have caught the infection of this annoyance. Why do businesses in our part of the world, in Nigeria, in Africa, why do we continue to be addressed as small and medium? And then we never grow large. And so somebody starts a business, and then it's in that corner, that little business, that little corner, never exceeding a certain amount of revenue until the person dies. Now, Jeff Bezos started Amazon in 1996. Some of us here started business the same year in 1995. Today, Amazon is global. It's all over the world. Why is it that we are still being called small, even though we started business the same time? This is part of the subject that we're going to deal with today, in part of answering that question. And then Solomon says that he who observes the wind will not sow, and he who regards the clouds will not reap. So everybody type in the chat, I will not wait for the economy to improve or for the political situation to improve. Just put it in your own words.
I will not wait for the economy to improve.
To expand my business, to grow my business. I will not wait for the economy. I will not wait. Just put, I will not wait for the economy. That's okay. I will not wait for politicians. Put those two things there in the chat. Everybody say, I will not wait for the economy, and I will not wait for politicians. I will not wait for the economy, and I will not wait for politicians. Why are you going to wait?
I will not wait for nothing. I will not wait for the politicians.
Yeah. Type it in the chat. Yes. I will not wait for the economy. I will not wait for politicians. So some of you, I say, okay, when Tinubu comes, or when P2B comes, or when this and that happens, then everybody, you will wait for long. You will wait for long. I will not wait for the economy, and I will not wait for politicians to grow my business. Your business is a spiritual entity. Your business represents the best of you. It represents your mission, your purpose here on earth. Because I can guarantee that nobody here started your business for the sole purpose of making money. You want to create impact in the world. You want to change things. Like me, I want to develop leaders. I want to develop 1,000 leaders, business leaders, entrepreneurs, unicorns, who will lead the spiritual, the cultural, the social, the political transformation, the economic transformation of Africa. That's my mission. How in the world will I start waiting for the politicians to do that for me? I don't have the time. Okay, and things will not change and get better. Okay, so there are three kinds of organizational performance metrics. So there are three major or basic ways that you measure your organizational health and your organizational performance. The first measure is market performance. And this one is dealing with how well your products and services are received, how well it is received in the marketplace by the target customers. When you look at some products, for instance, some products have some incredible market performance. I'm looking for some, like this Indomie came up, and then all of a sudden, it became like a household thing. And then many times, when your product finds its way into the megas and all these people who sell, these get men who sell by the whatever, then you know that the thing has actually penetrated, the mass market. So how well is your product? How well is your consulting, your coaching services? How well is your retail business received? That is talking about your market performance. Then there is operational performance. And operational performance deals with how efficient and effective that your processes are. For instance, if your competitor, so you are two companies, company A and company B, and you are in the same sector, say in pharmaceutical retail. Now, if $1 goes into your company A, and then brings out $1.50, let me use Naira. So if 1,000 Naira goes into company A, and then after the cash conversion cycle, 2,000 Naira comes out of it. Then company B, the same 1,000 Naira goes in, and then 1,200 Naira comes out. That's additional 200 Naira. Which of the companies will you invest in? Company A or company B? Company A puts in 1,000, and then 2,000 comes out. Company B puts in 1,000, the same 1,000, and then 1,200 naira comes out. Which company, if you are an investor, will you invest in A or B? Type in the chat. Of course, you will invest in company A. So that is talking about operational performance, the efficiency and effectiveness with which your company's internal processes and activities are executed to achieve strategic goals. Then there's a financial performance, which is what we are focusing on today. That's what Mesh and I are focusing on today. And then this is the measurement of your company's financial health. All right. Just like your body has fitness, your business also has fitness, and financial performance measures your company's financial health. How profitable is it? How liquid is your company, the liquidity in terms of meeting your short-term obligations? How solvent is your company? How efficient is it? And that's what so in measuring the overall health, like organizational health of your company, you've got to focus on these three things. You cannot take one and ignore the other. So now, this is one of my favorite Jack Welch quotes. If I had to run a company on three measures, those measures would be customer satisfaction, employee satisfaction, and cash flow. This mirrors loosely those three performances, but cash flow is critical, it's important. Okay, so now let's talk about financial fitness. Just like you have to be financially fit as an individual and as a person. And then when a human being is fit in a, I mean, you're not financially fit, you know, if you're talking about health, fitness. So if you have high health fitness, you're very, very fit, you know, physically fit. You know, there are metrics you look at your fitness. If you're climbing the staircase, for instance, or stairwells, and you're climbing a mountain, you're not panting and puffing, you know, too much. You know, your heart beats very, very well. You are physically, so you have endurance, you know, you have strength, you have agility, you have flexibility, and all that, you know, when you're physically fit. So in the same way, if you're financially fit, certain things need to happen. So type in the chat, why is financial fitness critical for everyone on this call today? Why is financial fitness critical? Type in the chat and I'll read out. Okay, keep it coming. So the business doesn't die. Very good. To remain in business, to be sustainable. Good. That's what gives you stability. Okay, very good. Okay, so Yakubu says to remain in business. Temitope, yeah, okay. Company stability, business stability. This will make your company grow. Very good. Okay, it's a must because without it, the company will go down. It's the determinant of everything, Princess Larry says. Okay, to be able to meet your obligations and sustain your business. Very good. All this, if you all look at what you put in the chat, excellent. And in fact, I like the way Lekon put it. It says, financial fitness is the soul of the business. That's a quotable quote. Lekon, I think you should patent that quote. Very, very true. Financial fitness is the soul of the business. All right. So if I put all your answers together, these are some of the things I think about. So a financially unfit business does not have future at all. Okay, like we've seen, all those businesses littering our landscape, littering our different cities, they are the way they are because they were not financially fit. All right. Now, for you to be able to grow and then to scale up, of course, you need financial fitness. And then this also gives you competitive leverage because sometimes, you know, there might be opportunity, maybe like you want to manufacture a product or to bring in a machine. Even talking about the economies of scale alone, like when I printed my second book, the second book I published, I did it in China. And then if you were doing, if I was doing 10,000 copies, it costs far less than if it was doing only 2,000 copies. Now, but you might find that you may not have as much to invest in 10,000 copies. So, but if you're financially fit, you find that you can actually leverage the economies of scale. Generational wealth is not possible if a business is not financially fit. So you cannot pass it on from your generation, from you to other people. Like if it's a family business, all right? And then financial fitness is critical for resilience, especially through bad times, so that you're not swept away. Okay? You will get these slides. I'll tell you how you get these slides at the end of my slides, and then Mesh slides at the end of it. They'll be available by 10 a.m. tomorrow morning, and I will show you how you are going to get all this, including this recording, to get access to it. So it turns out that the financial fitness must be the number one concern of the CEO, of the business team, of the business leader, because you can see that tree before it collapsed. They didn't know that the inside was being eaten up. And that's what happens when you are not financially fit. The inside, like somebody, Leko said, is the soul of the business. The inside is eating up, but on the outside, the business still looks good. In fact, last week I saw a publication that how many hundreds of American businesses are closing shop, retail businesses. They're closing hundreds of branches of several brands. And then if you look at it, you see some financial fitness challenges. Okay, so type in the chat, where do you currently experience the most financial distress in your business? And this is going to help to position us for a couple more ideas I'm going to share, and then I'll bring Mesh in on the dot of the hour. Where do you, in your own business right now, where do you currently experience the most financial distress? What are finance-related challenges that pepper your business? Somebody already said earlier on that, finding a low-interest loan. So that also is a source of financial distress. Okay. Mike says proper allocation of funds. Exactly. One of my own, like in my own business, it's related to what Mike said. It's budgeting, cash budgeting, and then being able to budget for like the projects in another 12 months or something. I'm making sure that we don't run out of cash. Yeah, because I have found myself running out of cash this year to grow. That's a source of stress, for me. Osarity says, I don't understand profitability of my business. That's a source of serious, and I assure you, Osarity, that was also why one of my businesses died. It wasn't because it was not actually making money. And then sometimes, if we don't understand our financials very well, you might actually, especially if you don't understand your cost drivers, you might actually be losing money on every sale. So you'll be selling, and because you're seeing cash, but you don't know you're losing money because you have not accounted for all the cost elements, all the cost inputs that went into producing that. And so if you don't understand profitability, that's a problem. Okay, and Mesh, I hope you're also looking at the chat because this is really going to play into your area once you come on. Stock purchase, finance planning, too much expenses, all right? Lack of accounting structure. That was also my problem, Architect Innocent, okay? High overhead, not generating enough sales, okay? And very high expenses, very, very important. And then weak internal controls. Perfect. Okay, perfect. Thanks for that. So now, I already said that if you don't learn the basic language of economics and finance, you will never escape the metrics. So that was my realization as I was going through my challenges in understanding the language of finance, the language of business. And then the common myth is finance is time-consuming and complicated. Yeah, people say that, and it appears so, but until you get into the hang of it, until you set up the system and automate what can be automated, it might look like it's time-consuming and complicated. And some think it's only for the experts. Now, this is a big issue. So a lot of us CEOs and founders, we say, well, accounting, we leave accounting for the accountants. I'm not an accountant. My accountant will handle it. or we say, okay, my tax consultant will handle it. This professional, this expert, they will handle it. I'll just outsource it and they will do it, which is okay, because I don't expect to do my taxes and I don't expect to do my accounting, but I need to understand it enough to be able to have a conversation with my accountant. Type in the chat, has anybody here heard or experienced how an accountant actually took a business down because the business owner didn't know what the accountant was doing? And the business owner will think, oh, there's a lot of money, only for one day to discover that they are completely bankrupt. It happens a lot. I've heard so many stories in the US when accountants literally ran the business down. The guy was making a lot of money, but because he didn't understand accounting and understand the book. Has anybody heard any kind of story like that? Yes, Steve Harvey was one. It happened to Steve Harvey. It happened to another gentleman. I heard a story called Myron Golden. And then in fact, Steve Harvey's one was so bad because he set him back by like 3 years or something, or it took him like 3 years or 7 years to finish paying IRS. So this guy was supposed to be paying and he was writing the checks, but he wasn't paying. And so he ended up owing millions of dollars. So don't just say it's for the experts. Yes, the experts will do what they do, but you as a CEO and as a business owner, you need to understand enough to be able to have conversations, to be able to ask questions of your auditor, okay, to be able to ask questions of your finance person. And some people say, oh, I'm a small business owner. Understanding finance is only for big businesses like MTN and all those people. That's a common myth. So even if your business is under 20 million or something, I think, Mesh, you can type in the chat. Somebody who knows can type in the chat. I think if you earn under, I believe it's 25 million or 20 million, you don't pay taxes. But even at that, you still need to understand finance. You don't have to wait until you make that. And then because we don't know much about finance, we only think that the only option for financing our businesses is to borrow money from the bank, is debt. But there are so many others. And I think in one of the business dinners, we'll look at many ways to generate funds, to raise funds for our businesses, other than just going to the bank. There are so many ways from the value chain, for instance, that you can find that. The other thing you need to understand is the way the financial world system is. Okay, Henry Ford once said when he was alive, it is well enough that people of the nation do not understand our banking and monetary system. For if they did, I believe there will be a revolution before tomorrow morning. Yeah, you need to understand the workings of the monetary and financial system. This guy, the Rothschild dynasty founder, says, give me control of your nation's money and I care not who makes it lost. It's lost. So if you don't understand the laws, the policies, the financial system of the place you're doing business, goodness gracious me, you are just one crisis away from being taken out. One crisis, one mistake away from being taken out. One financial kind of risk away from your big business you've built for 20, 30, 50 years being taken away. And I'm sure Mesh can tell us a little bit more about that. So what is the basic financial language for a business owner? I was just musing with Mesh before we opened the room that many times the non-expert, I'm not an expert person in finance, but because of what I've gone through, I'm a lay person in finance. So sometimes the way I put it in the lay person's language might actually connect a little much better with other lay people. And then he will now come in as the expert and then build on our understanding as lay people. So finance involves the management of money, assets, and investments to make informed decisions about how to allocate resources, generate profits, and manage risks. Now, there are 5 key aspects of things, for me as a lay person that I found useful in understanding finance. So one is management of money. So for all the lay people like me, non-finance people here, who are business owners and then management people, business leaders, you can screenshot this. If you understand this, it can actually help you to begin to acquire that language. We will do this, then we'll look at some of the ratios, and then we hand over to the expert. So managing money, deciding how to use your funds, how much money to spend on marketing, on staff salaries, on supplies, that's finance. How much to keep in reserves for unexpected expenses or for future investments. All these things have to do with management of money. Now, then finance also involves assets and investment, okay? Businesses own assets, buildings, machines, inventory. So you see that in finance, in the financial statements, okay? Finance helps me to determine if it is a good idea to buy. Should I buy another vehicle at this time? Should I open an office somewhere? Should I make certain investment that could bring in more profit, or should I not? Then finance also deals with allocating resources, all right? How do I use certain tools and human resources to get the best result? Where do I put people? If I'm in manufacturing, for instance, and then I have a process flow of the things that go from the raw materials, input to different kinds of input onto the finished product. How do I allocate people in the different parts? So I consulted for a manufacturer at Newi. And so it was the first thing that we did was look at their, they make lubricants, they manufacture oil. And so it goes through different kinds of processes before it gets there. And then sometimes, you need to find out, where are we in the process? Where are you experiencing bottlenecks? Because sometimes we find that, like in their shop, their factory floor, we had finished goods that are piled up, put in cartons, and they were just piled up there. And then, because they were not taken away, the people in other sections in the process had to wait until it was cleared. So things like that, knowing how to allocate resources so that you can have good results. Then it also deals with generating profits. How much do you need to charge, for your products, pricing, to just make sure you're earning more than you're spending. Then, of course, the biggest, perhaps the biggest one of it, plan for business risk, the finance risk, and then how to minimize the impact. Now, how do you measure your financial health, your financial fitness? So we've created, now I'm not going to be able to read all this, but you're going to get them. But these are the ratios, that somebody was talking about the ratios and exactly what it means. So we've done this, and then we've also created a worksheet to take you as a lay person, even if you don't know anything. You look at that ratio, you look at the worksheet, which I'm going to show you in a moment, and then it's going to show you how to calculate each of them. So these are the different ways you measure your financial fitness as a company, your liquidity, your solvency. Everything here explains what those ratios are, your profitability, okay, your efficiency, your cash flow management. Under efficiency, you can see something around like inventory turnover. It measures how quickly inventory is sold and replaced. Very, very important measure. Then there's account receivable and account payable. Some people, if you're payable days in the year, for instance, you're paying your suppliers on average 15 days or 14 days. But you yourself, you are receiving payments. You have receivable days of, say, 56 days. Your business is going to suffer terribly because you're paying faster than you are receiving. So cash flow management, debt management. So these are the, when you go to the hospital and then the doctor is taking certain measurements in your body, your heartbeat, your temperature, your blood pressure, and all that. In the same way, in financial fitness of a business, these are the different things. These are like the heartbeat, the blood pressure. So these are the factors that help you to determine the fitness of your business. Now, it's not complicated. Remember, we already said that it's a myth. You can't say it's complicated and then ignore it. There are things you will do. Now, so there are 5 steps to improve your financial health from where it is now. And these are the steps that I'm taking, especially, when I started working with Mesh because I want this year to be much better than last year. So the first thing is to calculate these key financial ratios I showed you there, just a few of them, interpret them, identify areas of improvement to work on, because you need to know what are the areas of our financial fitness that, just like you might want to, for your physical fitness, you want to fine-tune your diet, maybe you want to fine-tune your exercise routine, maybe you want to look at your sleep. You're supposed to be sleeping like 7 hours in the night, and then for the past 1 month, you've been doing like 4 hours. So it's the same way, areas for improvement. You do the same thing for your business. Now, so let me show you what it. Oh, okay. I didn't know I was muted. So let me show you what it looks like. And then later I will tell you how to get it. So for everyone here, no matter your level, okay, just like me, because this is a layman to a layman. And then I was able to get all these, just with my work with Stanford University. And then when I started working with, people who helped me with the financial statements. So the first step is to calculate your financial ratios. And then they are just liquidity ratios and all that. So it tells you exactly what it is. And then here on the worksheet, it gives you the industry average, like current ratio. It's usually very good if it's between 1.5 and 3.0, okay? And then you can actually calculate your own current ratio and then put it here. If your current ratio is 2.0, then you know when you come later to interpreting it, you know that your business is doing very well. But if you actually get a current ratio of 1.0, then it's going to send you straight to identifying areas for improvement. And so each of these 5 areas, liquidity, profitability, debt management, efficiency, cash flow. These are the areas, if you improve all these areas, it will show in your business. And these are the areas that we have this worksheet that tells you exactly how to calculate quick ratio, how to calculate gross profit margin, net profit divided by total revenue times 100 and all that. Then you compare it with your industry average. And all these things explain what it is. So this is a worksheet you are going to get together with the presentation. And then at the end of it, I'm going to show you exactly how to get it. Now, it is my privilege to now yield the microphone to Mesh. I don't know how to describe Mesh, but Mesh has been, he can tell us a little bit about himself, and he's worked with clients that do tens of billions. And then he knows his onions, when it comes to helping you through your taxes. And then particularly, I've had a tax consultant or several tax consultants before Mesh. But I think one of the things that each of us looks for in business is just people who are very straightforward with you. Okay? People who are straightforward with you, people who are trustworthy, and people who are faithful. I did not take him because our company did not hire him because he's perhaps the most knowledgeable. There are many people, but because he's not only knowledgeable, but he can be trusted. I hired Mesh because he tells me the truth as it is. Because I've had a tax consultant who was conniving with the tax office to tell them, oh, this guy is loaded. He has a business making dollars in Ghana. He has here. And at some point, because I was paying taxes in Ghana, I'm paying here. I just thought as a layman, wait a minute. Nigeria and Ghana do not have tax agreement. So I'm doing double taxation. I'm paying in Ghana, I'm paying here. So by the time the thing comes, he's finished. Because at that time, Ghana will swipe off before the thing even lands in the account in Ghana. Ghana will swipe off 20%, I believe it was 20 or 25%. Gone. Then by the time it's landing in Nigeria, they're also taking their own. So I decided, okay, you know what? Why don't I start an entity, a protein entity in Ghana, which was like the most sensible thing to do. And then this guy said, no, no, don't do it. No, don't do it. I said, why? He said, no, 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 don't do it. And he was conniving with them. But then I went ahead and did it. And it turned out to be the best decision I made. Now I was paying taxes for that entity in Ghana and then paying my taxes in Nigeria. And that's the kind of person that Mesh is, tells me the truth and tells me what to do. And so it's with pleasure and a lot of joyful anticipation that I yield the mic to Mesh to take it off from there. And then anyhow you want to treat us, anyhow you want to make it go, just take it on from there. And then what we might do, if you want to take some time to talk generally, and then now invite questions, that might also be very good so that people can ask whatever finance related questions that they have in their minds. And so that would be a very good way to do it. But I hand over the mic to you. So Mesh, everybody, a round of applause, emoji.
Wow, 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 wow. You have finished the session now. So all they needed to know, they have already known. Maybe the one I want to say now is just Jara. That's lovely. Okay, my name is Mesh Masade. Let's leave it like that for now. I'm a tax consultant. I'm an auditor, a financial person. Okay, I want to add to what Mr. Ogbo have been telling us. Please, I don't know if you can hear me. If you can hear me, can you please just type yes, you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you, thank you. I can see people say they are hearing me, they can hear me. So, I usually have a particular way of discussing with people. I want you to get your pen and I want you to get a writing pad by your side because you are going to hear some, although you are going to get the slides, but there are certain things you might hear that others will not hear, notice. And there are certain things I might not say that I'm saying that you understood, notice. Because I'm so sure they are going to be of significant benefit to you as an individual and to your business. Whatever I want to do now is tailored towards Nigerian business people. And I will try my best to ensure that those of us that are connecting from outside Nigeria, we also try as much as possible to touch your area so that we will not, your connection, your connecting to this particular platform not wasted. I am sure you are going to learn more and we'll try as much as possible to take your economy into consideration. One of the things that necessitated this particular presentation was because of I was discussing with Mr. Ogbo, and we learned that some of our people here, they are having financial problems, most of their businesses were failing, and they were deciding to take extreme action. And I said, extreme action, scared. Why would somebody do that? Is the person a Christian? He believes that person is a Christian. I say, if it's extreme action, then that person have not started now. It's not the first person to do a business that failed. So why will he go and take extreme action? Me talking to you, I did business and I failed. And I did die. But today I can smile. I'm talking to you now, I'm smiling. Because I'm looking at it as if, why should I take extreme action when I can actually come out of? Okay. Understanding your financial statement. Now, what we want to do here is try as much as possible to ensure that you understand your business. A lot of us jump into business not because we are prepared. We jump into business because we saw that maybe that our neighbor that we do not like, that we believe we are supposed to be better than, is doing a business, so we jump into the business. I can tell you for free, no, you don't need to pay. It's the way you jump in that you're going to jump out. Because you're already jumping in without any plan. So A lot of us jump in, or some of us, we go into the business because we have prepared for it. But immediately we enter the business, our dynamics change. The first thing you see money. Since you have been working, you have not received 100,000 naira or 200,000 naira before. And now 200,000 just came in a bulk. You just say, wow. And then you start another dimension. I will be relating to certain things. I cannot separate myself from my religion. I'm a Christian. And I cannot separate myself from my God. So I might be giving you some illustration from the good book, the Bible. Peter made a prayer to Jesus. He said, bid me to come if you are Christ. It was a prayer request. And Jesus answered that prayer. He said, come. And Peter stepped in and entered and started walking on water. That's what a lot of us do as businessmen. We go in with that absolute determination, with so much vigor, so much zeal, and one little boisterous wind. Immediately, Peter removed his eye. Why did the wind was there already, and Jesus was still working on that. With that boisterous wind, Jesus was still working there. And Peter was there. But immediately Peter removed his focus from Jesus. He started sinking. And he cried for help. And Jesus helped him. Now let's narrate it. Let's bring it down to our business. I was discussing this slide with my son. And he's reading engineering, and I am teaching him financial issues. Say, look, I know you're an engineer. Me, I'm an accountant. I'm a finance man. But you see, when it gets to certain things, this is how you manage your money. He said, Daddy, do you know that if you was not bringing engineering into finance. Do you know what the Bank of a River stands for? I say, yes, I know the Bank of a River. Say the Bank of a River. It's like the Bank of a River is like what controls the flow of current. I say, yes. He said, then what do you think the Bank of Finance stands for? It controls flow of income. I said, that is great. That is great. This is an engineering guy that brought engineering perspective into finance. Most of us that have financial ideas or finance knowledge don't always want to go into interpreting or understanding our business. And that's one of the problems that is killing our business. So what I want to do today, or the first thing I'm going to do, is to take you through some of the things you need to understand about business. Some of the terms we need to understand so that it will not be difficult for us to be able to come out of it. This is what we're going to do. We're going to talk about what are financial statements, objective of financial statements, users of financial statements, elements of financial statements, components of financial statements, reading and understanding components of financial statements, and then the G factor. Don't worry, when we get there, we'll explain what it means. Now, I might not spend a lot of time in the slide, but I will try to make sure I explain certain things that are vital because Mr. Ogba promised us that he's going to send the slide to everybody. And I'm very sure it's going to also create an avenue for you to ask a lot of questions. First, what are financial statements? Whatever you see here, they are components of financial statements. It's just how you present your book. I'm going to use the layman's language so that a lot of us who are not financially literate will be able to understand it very well. It's your ability to present the information in your company, the transactions that have taken place. You are trying to present it in a financial way. You are converting most of those transactions that are taking place, interpreting it in figures, in naira and kobo, if it is Nigeria, in dollar and cents, in pounds and pence, and in whatever other currency. That is just what it means in the layman way. Your ability to interpret all the transactions that are taking place in financial terms. Take, for example, somebody came and bought something from you. You sold. And the person paid you money. That is cash that came in. And you exchange goods for that. The person collected the goods. And how do you record it? How do you put it in naira and kobo? Even if the person did not pay cash immediately. Let's say the person bought on credit and promised to pay in a future date. How do you capture it? You just say, okay, because the person did not pay, then you leave it, which a lot of us do. Okay, man have not paid, no problem. Anytime he pays, we capture it in our books that he has paid. And you now discover that the person will not pay in the next 1 year. By the time the person is paying, that year have ended. You didn't capture the person's transaction. And by the time you are not capturing the person's transaction, the year in which it is responsible for you to capture, you didn't capture. So these are ways we need to understand what financial intelligence is all about, or financial statement is all about. Financial statements are a set of information contained in the document that shows your company's financial status at a specific and a particular time. They include key data. I want you to take information, take note of these two words. Key data on what your company owns and what your company owes. What is it that you own? These are your assets. What is it that you owe? They are your liabilities. So, your ability to present those information for people to be able to understand, for people to be able to see, is what we call financial statement, and includes this statement of comprehensive income, which are these are the new terms. Now, for those of us that do not understand that, I will try to break it down to the two terms that we know. Statement of comprehensive income is what we call profit or loss. Before we call it profit and loss. You cannot have profit and loss at the same time. So the International Financial Reporting Standard changed it from profit and loss to profit or loss, and that is the accurate word to use. It is either you have a profit or you have a loss. The next thing is statement of change in equity. This one was not there before, but all we are just trying to say is that at the end of every year, there must be change in the owner's income or the owner's amount that he put into the business. We want to know it. At the end of every year, this is how much you started with as the owner of the business, and this is how much you are ending with at the end of the year. That is the change in equity. That one was newly introduced. Statement of financial position is what we all know as our balance sheet. Then statement of cash flow is what a lot of us call cash flow statement. And then notes to the account. What are the information? What are the details that you put together to be able to generate your balance sheet, generate your profit or loss, generate your cash flow? That's what we call the notes to the account. What is the objective of financial statement? The objective of financial statement is to provide information about the financial position, the financial performance, and the cash flow of the business. I will talk about cash flow later, but cash flow is very, very key and very, very vital in your business. We'll talk about that on later. Now, to meet that objective, financial statement provides information about a business assets, liabilities, equity, income and expenses, and then cash flow. Although we are going to talk of assets, but let me just define. What is it that your company owns? What are the things your company own, or what are the things you as an individual own? Let me put it down like this. I want to take the different type of business, or let me put it in just two ways. It's either you are operating as an individual, which is an enterprise, or you are operating as a limited liability company. If you are operating as an enterprise, the business is you. If you are operating as a limited liability, you are different from the business, even if you have 100% of the shares. You and the business are two different entities. You must remember that. These days, as entrepreneurs or as enterprise owners, you should try as much as possible to separate yourself from your business. We're going to learn that one later. Just say, let me say this one for you to understand. Liabilities. What are liabilities? What you as an individual or what your company is owing others. That's liability. What they are owing you is an asset to you, but they are called receivables. What you owe others are liabilities. Let me give you an instance, because some people do not know the difference between liability and share capital. As an owner of business, the initial amount you introduce in starting that business is called the share capital. Now, why is the share capital present in the liability side, not the asset side? This is how it goes. When you bring out that money and you give it to the business itself sees you as someone who have given money to the business. So what you give the business is cash. The business takes that cash as an asset to the business and keeps it in the bank. You that are giving the money, because you are the owner, it takes you as a liability, but in that liability aspect, it's calling it the share capital, the amount that was introduced in starting up the business. So let's understand that. Now, that is what we call equity. Then the next thing is the income and expenses. How do you generate income? You generate income through sales. Exchange of your service or your goods with a client in exchange for cash. That is income. You are exchanging your goods, your services, or the value you are carrying to the marketplace. You are changing it for money. That is income. That is revenue. That is turnover. Expenses. What you incur in keeping the business alive, in keeping the business afloat. That's what is called expenses. I go to the hospital and I pay medical bills as an individual. That's the expenses I have incurred. For the business is sending you on an errand. Please go to the customer that I just transacted with and collect a cash or a check from me. That's the business sending you on that errand. And the business gives you money to pay for transportation. It's an expense the business has just incurred. And I want to also say certain things, because a lot of us believe that because the business is ours and the business have released certain amount to us to now incur or take our transportation to that place, and when we come back, we don't want to do retirement of expenses. The money is not your own. No. Please get that. Say the money is not yours. The money is that of the business. My colleagues in the office and my children, they know that. Sometimes I give them money. Maybe I give them 1,000, go and buy me something, and they'll go and buy. When they come back, I say, where's my change? This same child will be looking at me, Daddy, the change is 100 naira now. I say, give it to me. It's not yours. He will give me my money. I'll collect it. This same child, that same spot, he will tell me that I don't have credit, and I'll recharge his credit with 2,000. And or 1,000 or 500. But why did you leave the 100 naira? I say, no, the 100 naira is my own. That is my money, it's not yours. You must be accountable to what I gave you. A lot of us are now accountable to the business like that. So the business is losing. And you are not taking note of that loss. The next thing is cash flow. The amount of cash that moves in and out of the business is not the same thing as profit. Let me give you an instance. A lot of us do businesses that involve cash movement on a daily basis. I have worked with an organization that, you know, the huge cash flow that moves, the cash transaction that move in that business. On a daily basis, it can run into hundreds of millions, but that is not profit. Because a lot of us believe that once you go there and they say, we have sold today, we have just sold 500 million naira worth of goods. Say 500 million, yes. Give me 50 million there. The next thing you are thinking of going to buy car because you just had 500 million. I say, I don't hammer. God, my business, 500 million. Okay, I agree. I don't have a problem with the 500 million. But do you know that the goods that generated that 500 million cost something? The transportation of moving that goods to that warehouse costs something. The amount you are paying for the warehouse, if it's not yours, costs something. Have you deducted those things from the 500 million you just received that cash? A lot of us don't do that. Because we just saw that cash, we just believe that we have made profit and then we start spending. The people that are working for you, that you call employee, have you paid them their salary? Remember that you are using electricity. NEPA, let me be using NEPA. I don't want to use or IKDC for Lagos now. Or whatever electricity company that you are using, we come and collect their bill. Remember that you generate dustbin, waste, lawman will come and collect theirs. Have you paid those ones? By the time you deduct from that 500 million, you discover that the income of 500 million, less the expenses, probably might run into negative. And then you now say somebody has stolen your money. Nobody stole your money. I work with a business owner that will tell me, accountant, give me so amount. So guy, you are so enjoying this money. Are you there when I set up my business? Are you there? That's what a lot of us business owners tell our staff. Give me this thing, Joe. You that I just employed yesterday, you want to come and start telling me how to run my business. I've been running the business for this thing. Yes, I agree. You have been running it. But have you sat down to do your accounts to know whether you're actually making profit or loss? Those are the things that kill business. This is users of financial statements. You have two categories of people that use the financial statement. The information that is embedded in that financial statement. You have the internal and you have the external. Owners of business, why do they need the information? They needed it for them to be able to know whether they are actually making profit. Management, you know, sometimes those of us that have organized settings, you have promised your management, if you meet this level of operation, if you meet this level of profit, you will get 2% of total turnover. You get this. So they need that information so that they can get that 2%. Employees want to know whether you are making profit so that they can carry placard, increase in salary. That need to increase our salary. I need to this, I need to that. They can bring their demand. And then you talk about investors, people that you collected, people that brought money to sponsor your business. They want whether you can pay them their dividend. Shareholders, people who gave you money, can you pay the interest? Your creditors want to know whether this man can pay us back. If we are giving this person goods and he's buying goods from us on credit, can he pay us? Did he even take into consideration that he's owing us? of the list of the debtors or creditors he wrote there, did he write our name? They want to know. Then how some people will call it, there's this man that usually says the grandfather of them all. The grandfather of them all is government. One policy from government can wipe away your 500 billion that you think you are relying on. Government taxes and authorities. For those of us in Nigeria, you see, we're having a lot of tax issues. Those in abroad, you don't pay tax, you go to jail. I've told some Federal Revenue Service people, I say you only run after people who are sincere in Nigeria. Go to Lekki. 80% of people, they are not paying taxes. Most of these big men, they are not paying taxes. But those little ones that say, okay, we want to pay, that's when you now want to exterminate. They will not tell you, hey, if you have any of them, come and tell me. I say, am I doing your work? Are you paying me? You are earning your salary. Why will I be coming to tell you this person is not paying this? But you go and do your investigation. But you see, with time, I'm very sure that a lot of us are going to change. And the people that do research, they also need the information. The banks that you go to say you want to collect loan and they give you loan. I need this loan, I need that loan. And one of the problems we face as business owners is that when we collect loan from the bank, we give them everything we want to give them. Immediately the money comes in, you divert the money to another source. Especially people who believe that one woman is not enough for them. Immediately they collect loan from bank, they go and marry another wife. And then you now believe that you go and buy a car. It is when you are pursuing the loan, you will not remember that your car is smoking. The bumper is falling off. But immediately the loan comes in, that's when you now remember, the money, this car is not fit me, does not fit me again. The bank just gave me 2 billion naira. See, you gave the bank a detailed plan of what you want to use the 2 billion for. And that is what they depended on and gave you the money. But immediately the money, you just calculate 2 billion. From this 2 billion, I'm going to make 200 million profit. So you have started to spend the 200 million. And suddenly there is one government policy that have wiped away your 2 billion and wiped away your 200 million and you fall into loss. One, you can't run the business. Two, you have incurred loss, you can't pay back your 2 billion, you start running from pillar to post. A lot of us now, Africans, we start carrying village people. We start calling witches and wizards. We start laughing. Village people are pursuing me. No village person is pursuing you. You just did not understand the flow, the current, the bank that controls current of flow of money. You just didn't understand that principle. So you decided to spend money that you have not earned. What you did was that you just ate your future. And when you get to that future, you start complaining. And then we talk of our consumers, our customers. They want to read. I want to know, like, when you go to most of these seminars or you reach some book, they'll tell you that, why are you investing in a company you cannot use their product? You can't use the product of that company and you are investing. Invest in a product, in a company you can use their product. You become a part owner. A lot of us use, if you see the way some people buy recharge card, before phone came in, you were existing. We were existing. But some people believe that without phone, they are completely out. I'm not saying having a phone or making calls is bad. I'm only telling you that there are certain things you need to even fast up for. Can you switch off your phone for 1 hour and just use that 1 hour to discuss with your God? A lot of people cannot, and we have a lot of issues. When we start going into those things, elements of financial statement. You have assets, you have liabilities, you have revenues, you have owner's equity, you have expenses. I've explained this. Now let's take them one after the other. These are the components of financial statement. These are the things I just explained. Let me take them one after the other, like statement of comprehensive income. It's just a statement that shows how the company generated income, how the company expended part of that income, and what was left that you are calling profit. It's your revenue less the direct cost. Let me give you what a direct cost is. For those of us that buy goods to sell, you go and buy a particular good. You know that you were sitting at home, you didn't want to go and buy those goods, but you incurred transport to get to that place and you bought these goods and you brought them. Those goods cost you a certain amount. If you sell at a percentage higher, that's where we'll have a lot of problems. We're going to discuss a lot of that. Maybe I'm not sure if we can do that in this session, but subsequent session we might talk, because a lot of us, pricing is a problem. Somebody talk about wrong pricing during the process of pricing is a problem. Why is pricing a problem? If I buy a pack of biro and I want to sell, buying that pack of biro, remember I don't manufacture biro, so I have to incur transport to go to that place to buy that pack of biro. I'll talk about the transportation. When I go there, they didn't sell the biro to me. Maybe that was the last pack, and somebody wanted to collect it, and I said, no, I need to buy this pack. And the man came to me, Nigerian type of what we usually pray, we say, may Nigeria not happen to somebody. Maybe Nigeria is happening to you, and then you have to tip to get that pack of biro. That is also a cost incurred for the purpose of buying that biro. You need to add that transportation that you incurred in going to that place, plus every cost associated with buying that biro. By the time you come back, you discover that how much are you going to sell a piece or a pack for you to be able to make profit? Having sold, that is not the difference between what you sold and what you use in buying it. It's not your profit. It's not the profit of the business, because that business must pay electricity bill, must pay salary, must even you running the business, you need to get a part of the share of that business. Your salary must be paid. We believe that we that are business owners, especially if we are not running a limited liability company, we believe that the business money is our money. Some of them that are even running a limited liability company that do not even understand what we call corporate governance, believe that the business money is their money. So we just have only one account, and that's the business account. It's from there we pay DSTV, it's from there we pay all expenses, pay our own expenses, pay that. And at the end of the day, we don't even, when we pay salaries, we just carry the other balance. We don't, there is no discipline. We spend recklessly, and then we now complain that the business is not generating enough. There's no profit. There is no this. That is your income statement. Your balance sheet is just telling you the list of your assets and the list of your liabilities. Put them in perspective for us to see. One thing I should tell you is that assets balance sheet will always balance. It must always balance. We'll get to see the equation later. It must always balance. Get that? Statement of cash flow. What you are saying is, what is the amount of cash that came in and what is the amount of cash that left this business? It must be equivalent to the balance of the cash that you have left in your bank. That's cash flow. Total flow of cash that came in and left the business. I've already explained all these things before. So let's move on. This is the balance sheet equation. Assets, what the business owns, must be equal to the liabilities, what the business is owing, plus the amount the owners of the business invested. That is your share capital. Or it will be what the business owners invested, which is equal to asset less liability. Or it can be interpreted another way. Liability is equal to asset less owners equity. That gives you your liability. I want to say something here. A balance sheet must always balance. Therefore, this equation will always be true. As long as there's accountability, proper control, procedure, and system in place, your business money is not your money. Get that straight. Every one of us, sometimes when we run our business, we believe that the business money is our money. You say, this man that is saying it, I must have had. No, I won't fell into that state. Business money, just have one account. If I run into some problems, I'll be spending the business money like this. And suddenly I just realized, this thing that I'm doing is not mine. I went to open my own account. I gave myself salary. Yes, sometimes it's possible you will not get salary at the end of the month. The risk and liability is borne by you. Somebody talked about wrong staffing. Majority of the wrong staffing we have is because of us business owners that make the staff to be wrong. There must be something you saw in that staff that made that staff to come in at first. During the process of staying with you, how did the staff just turn to wrong? Wrong staffing. Because we did not take into consideration most of these things. Mr. Bo was talking about an accountant, that most of business owners do not pay attention to what the accountants they are doing. An accountant can man your business. An accountant can help create your business. Those that will help you man your business, if they discover that you as a business owner, you are not paying attention. You just believe that, accountant, no problem, do it. Anything, you just come, sign check, you sign. Sign this, you sign. That is how you will just one day, jejely, sign off the life of your company. Your company is a living individual, please. It's called a corporate body, a corporate person. Just the way you are sick in your body, that's the way company is sick. The way you take off yourself, take off your company like that. If you relate your company with yourself, let me give you this instance. Flow of cash that the bank manages. Let's bring it down to the river. Do you know a drowning man? Just like the way a company is drowning, that if somebody is drowning, he needs intervention to rescue him. At that point in time, the man is not even, will not be, he doesn't even care whether the person coming to save him is his enemy. All he just wants life. You know, a lot of us will believe that, these people, they are pagans. These people, they are this. And it's the pagan that have the solution to rescue your business. You say you don't want to go to him. Why? Because, you are born again. You are Holy Spirit filled. I'm not against that. But it's also the Bible that said that the wealth of the Gentiles will be transferred. How is it going to be transferred? You sitting at home and fighting the Gentiles. Is it not the same God that told us that he will prepare a table before us in the presence of our enemies? You have killed all your enemies. So how do you want the table to be prepared? Yeah, it's a question. Have you killed all your enemies? How will the table be prepared? God wants to prepare a table before you in presence of your enemies, and you have killed all your enemies which die. So how is the table going to be prepared? I'm giving all this illustration to illustrate the fact that your business money is not your money. Go and open an account, your personal account, and make sure from today, I haven't heard this, that you are going to be paying yourself salary. You have worked and you are due and entitled to salary just the way your staff is entitled to it. You must pay yourself. Please, it is one of the financial discipline you must introduce to that business. This is one problem I usually have, especially when business owners that are single owners call me to come and help them. One of them called me one time and said, Mr. Med, somebody told me that you are trustworthy. I said, by the grace of God. He said, please, I want to put system in my company. Can you help me so that we can? I said, sir, I can. But these are the things. He said, okay, design it. And I did it. The first thing he saw, the only thing I picked was that he cannot draw money anyhow. that for him to draw money, you have to go through process. He said, for what? My business. I can't draw money like that. I say, yes, sir. I say, no. I didn't get that business, so because that singular term that I told the man provoked him so much that he said he's not going to use me again. Whether his business is surviving now, it's not, I don't know. But you see, such type of people, we have all fall into that state. So if you are that type of person, let's not be ashamed. Just put okay. Let's not say yes. Or just put some fine terms so that people will not laugh at you and say, this man, so you used to be one of those eating your business money. Just put something by the side. Yes, okay, that's nice, correct, and
Okay, Mesh. So what I'm thinking is, we'll definitely have to continue this in the September dinner, because there's just so much stuff that you have to give us. And I'm sure that everyone listening definitely wants this to go on and on. But what I wanted to suggest is
okay.
if we can take the remaining time, we will continue from where you stopped in September. We'll continue with this in September, because as you can tell, this is a very big need that is not being filled right now for business owners. You can see, I'm sure, people, just write what you think on the chat. How is this hitting you? What are your aha moments? Just listening to Mesh and everything. How is this a revelation to you? Just type it there. Okay, type how this is. So what I want to suggest that we use the remaining couple of minutes or so to take questions. So if you have specific questions from what Mesh has shared so far and what you really want to understand, please type it in the chat and then we can take it. So Mesh, this slide is where we are going to start with in September. But let me start with a question myself that may be going on in the minds of people, because it also went through my mind. And then someone else in the chat, you can confirm what I'm saying if it's also happening to you. There's this feeling of monkey the work, baboon the chop. So I am putting in all this effort, I'm putting in all this sweat equity as they're talking about it. And then you are telling me I cannot draw from the business anytime I want, so it looks like I'm being deprived. And then I'm also making all this money. I felt like that. I don't sleep, I stay awake, I'm creating things, I'm on the road all the time, I'm doing all the whatever. And then one government official is just waiting for me one day to just come and give him 30-something% of all these things, and then I can't draw. So can you speak to that a little bit?
Okay.
In a way, is it still going to be, what am I gaining then? What am I gaining for all the trouble as a business owner? What am I gaining starting the business? Because I might as well have just remained an employer in Shell, for instance, and then be making all that big money than come to, because now Shell will pay me. I don't bother my head about whether Shell is paying taxes. I don't bother my head about how they're paying for generator and all that. Now I'm doing it. So what is in it for me as a business owner if I run things properly the way you are talking about it? Like the man who refused to use you because you told him that he couldn't do that. Can you speak to that? And then if there's anybody else in the chat that feels that way, you feel me, what I just said, please put me too in the chat while Mesh takes that.
Okay. This monkey they eat bamboo I've been monkey they walk bamboo they eat chop has been a frequent question I've been answering almost every day. Now the issue is this: there's a lot for you as a business owner. Let me take it from the limited liability perspective, so that we can understand it, and then we drill it down to sole trader. There are two things: your salary and dividends that comes to you. Now, because the company is a corporate body, see, I know that you are the owner, the one who set up the business. As at when you were setting up the business, everybody understood that. Immediately the business comes alive, the business is different from you. The business can sack you unless you are the 100% share owner. That's why a lot of us are on limited liability companies, and we are the only director, the shareholder, the this, the that. We don't grow because people say you are the all in all. Anything happen to your business is gone. They don't want to put big money, but you're not bringing a board, you're not bringing director, bringing chairman, bring this, bring that, and then you discover that at the end of the day, those board of directors can put you in check. Now, because you are a staff of that company, whether you are the MD or not, or the chairman, executive or not, the company pays you compensation at the end of every month, which is your salary. At the end of the year, the company prepares its financial statement. The balance after satisfaction of all necessary payments, expenses, taxes, interest on loan, and everything, the balance will be distributed in two forms. One, there are some portion you are going to keep aside, retain for the growth of the business. And then there are some portion you are going to compensate the owners with for doing what? For bringing money to start this business. And that's called the dividend. And dividend is shared based on your percentage contribution to the business. And then there are, when you put what we call system in place, there's this book I was reading, it's from Dr. Lumide Emmanuel. It's the School of Money. It defines a system. Wonderful thing. SYSTEM. Save yourself time, energy, and money. Layman's definition. Wonderful. Save yourself time, energy, and money. Okay. So when you take that, you discover what the system is. A lot of people do not want to put system in businesses, do not want system to work, because the normal way they know to spend, to draw money will not be there anymore. There are certain things we do in Nigeria that we usually say about Nigeria. Nigerian law, I can tell you categorically for free, it's made for the rich to oppress the poor. The day the law turns against the rich, they call for amendment of that law.
Interesting. Okay,
so,
awesome.
Is that okay?
Yeah, in fact, that's amazing.
If there's another question, please.
Yeah, there's another one. There's another one, yes. So this is I think it's occurred a couple of times. So Sherifat says, I'm having problem in paying myself salary when the company is not making profit. And then Chidema also repeated the same thing. She said, where will I see money to pay myself when I have invested all my money and the business is yet to make profit? So it's basically the same kind of question. Yeah.
Okay.
So can you speak to it briefly? We have other questions.
Yes. There's a gestation period for everything on earth, including you, human being. There's a time we be a toddler, baby, running all around with our pants. That's the time the company is growing. Then there was a time we now became conscious of our nakedness, start wearing pants. And then there's a time we started growing and we say, no, we can't open our body again. And then there's a time we started saying, okay, we need to dress fine for people to see us. And then there's a time we started going to school, we graduated, and gradually we are getting old. And then it gets to a time we pass out to the great beyond. These are periods in our life, and that's the same way it happens to the business. Your business is facing its gestation period. Sit down and understand its gestation period. Every particular, it's just like human beings or people that want to get married. You are a single, you have not gotten married, though. You say you have a problem. Now, because you are single, you just leave that singlehood state and jump into marriage. You have not resolved the problem of being a single. You are not jumping to marriage, thinking marriage will resolve being a single. And then you get to marriage and you discover there's marriage problem too. And then the marriage problem, you now add to single problem. You are carrying it. And the next thing you now get to giving birth to a child. Remember that giving birth to a child is different from that. You now have another state. And then that child now grow up to have, so these are the problems, you are compounding them. And that's what is happening in that business.
Okay. So very good.
Take time and study the gestation period that business is right now. And I can tell you there is solution.
Okay, awesome. Very good. And then Eugenia actually made a suggestion. She said to Sherifat and to Chidema, she said, I think you need to pay yourself an allowance. The business will not come down. And before that, just to buttress what you just shared, when I read the story of Elon Musk, you see, everybody celebrates Elon Musk, today. Just like Chidema, Elon Musk literally, when he sold PayPal, he used all the money to start SpaceX. In fact, even right now, he's still building his business. The man sold his house and moved out. He's moving around, he's staying with friends. Though of course a billionaire is a billionaire, but he went all in. And everything he made in PayPal, he put it into starting new companies. And then these companies, just like you're talking about the gestation period, there were times that SpaceX would almost have died and they didn't have money. There were times that Tesla would have died and if they didn't raise some kind of money. So that gestation period is very, very true. And what I've also discovered from my own experience in running a business is that there is no shortcut to patience. The business is like it's a newborn baby. You have to nurture that newborn baby, give it enough milk so that the business can survive before you can start whatever. But I think that the problem is, like Chidema said, when we have given all to the business and we don't even have like a way to sustain ourselves, So maybe it's in the way we start the business. I don't know how you can address that because when people have put in everything, in the first instance, should they put in everything or should they scale the way they start? Or at the time that people are starting the business, should they have a kind of plan? I don't really know how you can address that, but now they have already started with everything and the business is not making sales yet to be able to sustain them.
Okay. There's something I want to say here that I heard from somebody. He said, every income that comes to you has three life things to do. One, to take care of your past. Two, to take care of your present. Three, to take care of your future. So if you put all together to take care of your past alone, your present and your future will suffer. If you put all together to take care of your present, your past, which is probably expenses you have incurred, will be there. You will not be able to settle it, and your future too will suffer. If you carry all of them and send to your future, you are going to suffer now, which is what they are doing. He wants a better future, so he invested everything into the future.
Right.
Presently now, it's going to suffer for that. So what he needs to have done was, he was supposed to separate. Again, let me tell you one thing. It's because that business does not have a good system in place. If there's a good system, a good structure, you will discover that even if the business at that particular point in time is not generating enough revenue to cover it, you'll be making provision for your salary. It's there. It will be appearing in the books of the company. When the company now makes sales and the company now, you now draw out that. Now, the problem why he's saying that is that maybe the salary he's putting for himself is equivalent to the salary he was earning when he was working under and a structured company. This illustration I want to give you, it will sound funny. Some people will tell me, why did you do that? But I'll tell you what happened. When I set up my business, I left a position where I was earning 1 million naira as salary for a month to set up my business to be earning 15,000 a month. People will say, wow, how? It's not possible. That's the truth. Fortunately for me, I have a very wonderful wife, lovely. I will take from her salary to augment my own. Even the 15,000 cannot pay the staff I had. So I will give part of it from that as well as she will say, no problem. You know, your business just started now, don't worry. He encouraged me. She was not behind me. She was by my side as my helper. Because a lot of people stay behind. That's why the woman is not always helping them, because it's behind. It's only when the woman is by your side that she can help you.
Yeah.
Because by your side, God took the rib. He take the rib from the back. So it is beside every man. So to address that question correctly is that study that gestation period of that business and be able to draw allowance for yourself, not equivalent to the exact amount you are earning when you are still working. At least to meet certain basic needs. There are certain things now you can stay off. They will be very luxury to you right now. But as the business grows, you discover that you are able to meet up such expenses.
Okay.
I can tell you, if you follow and study the gestation period very well and put things in place, things you will hear from this program, you put in place, that business will definitely pick up.
Awesome.
I can guarantee you, especially when you talk about the God factor in it.
Okay. Awesome. All right. So let's take a few more. And I don't know if what I did might also help people in similar situation. What I did as a lay person, even though it hasn't quite worked as well as I expected, but I think the concept might also be helpful. So when I opened the business account, I opened one. I opened for, I don't remember what the bankers call it. It's actually one account, but I have as a company, but I had other separate accounts. One was for taxes and for paying VAT and all that. The other one was investment, and then the other one was CSR. So I have 4 accounts, one company. So, and the intention was when something comes in, there's a percentage that will go into investment for the company. And then there are many kinds of investments that we visualize we could make, including investing in other companies, like you mentioned, that we use their products. Then CSR was whenever something comes in, let's say we work for a client and then we are paid 5 million. So something like 5% or 2.5%, something automatically is transferred to the CSR. And then the other one was for taxes, just anything that, we needed to put aside. So that concept seemed to help me at the beginning, but maybe because we don't have the system that you're talking about, we haven't really operationalized those 3 additional accounts, the company account. But that may also be very helpful for people who want to plan for tomorrow, like you say. But we can take that a little bit more next month so that we can do more. There's a lot of questions here, and we're actually targeting our normal 10:30 when we go over. So Fumi is asking, what do you advise to be done when you pay suppliers faster than you receive? So basically when your days payable are far less than receivable. Yes. What do you advise?
Date of payment period, date of collection period, and credit of payment period.
Yeah.
Now, this is something you need to adjust that period. You can't pay faster than what you collect. Now, you are owing, and you are paying them every 15 days. And then you show people that are owing you to be paying you every 30 days. It will not work. Where are you going to get the money to pay? You are going to borrow to pay the people. And then remember that by the time, okay, let's take this illustration. Somebody is owing you 30,000 and you are owing somebody 15,000. It's not time for you to pay. The 30,000 have not paid because you are going to collect in 30 days time. Now you go and borrow 15,000 to pay. That 15,000, they give you 10% or 20%. The bank will not give you, or you go and borrow from all these short-term people, they will give you 10% flat. And you just calculate the 10% of 15,000. It's okay, 10%, 15,000 is 1.5. By the time the person pay me 30,000, I'll pay the 1.5 plus the 15, and then you move on. Forgetting that you are going to pay the next 15 days. You borrow again, and then you pay. And then when you now call your creditor, the creditor will not tell you, your debtor will not tell you, I'm sorry, I can't pay that 30,000 again. Or can I pay you 5? Can I pay you 10? Can I pay you 15? Remember, you have incurred 20% on 30,000 already. 1515, which is 10%. So these are the problems we are facing. So you need to adjust your collection period and your payment period.
Okay.
You have to tell your debt. There's something I want to say here. My business was facing a lot of problems. I was having that particular type of issue because when I do business for people, when I do their job, they don't pay me. And I cried to my mentor, one of my pastors. You know what he told me? Their niceness, not a fruit of the spirit. They mesh. See, you better tell these people to pay you your money. Before you do that business, make sure they pay you something. I said, okay, but if they don't, if I put money, he said, that's why you're passing through this challenge. And I said, okay. And I adjusted my modus operandi. I said, no, I'm not coming. You have to pay. We have agreed, say yes, pay 70% of the money first.
Yeah.
No, we can't pay 70%. We just know you for the first time. We'll pay 50. I said, okay, pay. The guy have given me 50% of what I want to pay. And I go and do this.
Okay. Awesome.
But there's exception. There are sometimes we have exception. Especially if those people come from recommendation.
Right.
To create exception.
Yeah.
To adjust your payment and collection period, you will be able to meet up. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yes,
okay. Thank you.
Sorry, there's somebody here, Etini Obot. His hand has been raised up for a long time.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so thank you for speaking to Fumi's question. Yeah, so Fumi, so many times, like he said, that would involve a lot of negotiation with the supplier as well. And many times the suppliers don't tell you that they actually have such you actually have such leverage, but if you don't ask, you don't get. So that might be one thing to do, and especially because you are in retail business. Etini, I don't know if your question is here. I wanted to take the questions that are here first, that are written down, before those raising their hands. CEO says, please speak to the minimum tax law in Nigeria, where government decides between taxing your revenue or net profit. I don't know, does he need to explain, or it makes sense?
I'll just say certain things about that.
Okay.
Now, what the government is doing here is that as a business entity, you must pay tax. The law exempts a company who newly started a business for the first 4 years. You don't pay minimum tax because that is the gestation period they tax people there. Before, there are certain guidelines you get to determine your minimum tax. But right now, it is 0.5% of your turnover. So, if you have turnover of 1 billion and you now make a profit of 50 million, it's possible. Forget about the turnover, how big it is. By the time you bring the current cost of things in Nigeria that are not going down now, continue to go up, you discover that the profit you might make might be even very small, or it might end up making a loss. The government is saying, whether you make profit or you don't make loss, there's a minimum amount you must pay us as tax. Now, that 0.5% is directly now on your turnover, but it's comparable to when you now get your profit before tax. You know, there's what we call an adjustment in tax. By the time you adjust your tax computation in terms of, because you what we call there are some expenses you incur as a financial in your accounting that is not allowed in tax. Take for example, you give PRO. Tax will tell you that your company was not set up purposely to be giving PRO. They disallowed expenses. Depreciation in your fixed assets, in your financials, is covered by qualifying capital expenditure, which is capital allowance. So by the time you do those adjustments, you arrive at what we call taxable profit. When you take your 30% of it, they compare it to 0.5% of the global turnover. Whichever that is higher is what government will take.
See.
That is the minimum tax law.
Fantastic.
You must pay off something. One of the reasons why they are doing that is that they want to generate income. You get that? That's why they are increasing all the tax law now. Everything is going up because they want to generate income.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. So let's see. I think we can take one or two more, but this is definitely what we're going to extend into September. Temitope says, is one allowed to undertake a housing project with business funds? What are taxes for this?
Business funds. They are using the business money to build a house. Is the business set up as a real estate business, or it is you that is running the real estate as an individual or building the house by yourself? Now, that particular mentality, I had it before, trying to use your business money to think there was this proverb, other proverb 24, 27, or 27, 24. There's a particular translation that I have then. Says, build your business first before you build your house. The day that I saw that definition, I think the current one says, do your outside work first before you build your house. Prepare your outside work first before you build your house. What it's telling you there is that it is the income or profit that you make from the business that you will invest in those properties. Don't carry the income of the business or the turnover of the business to go and start building the house. Not that you will not build the house. Now, the business will pay you as the owner what we call dividend. Plan with that dividend to start building that house. You get that? That is when you do the separation. But for those of us that are not doing separation, we believe that the business money is our money, and we just carry the money and start building houses. And then, one, you are not able to complete the house. And two, you are not able to run the business effectively. So the house is stalled, the business is stalled. There's a problem. You must concentrate on the business first. Let the business stable. Let the business be very stable. And remember one thing, that house you are building is an asset to you, yes. But if that particular house is not generating income, it becomes a liability. Go and read Cash Flow Quadrant by Robert Kiyosaki. You will know that sometimes not everybody is required to build a house. Because right now, there are some houses you build. By the time you finish building and you park in, that's why you now see Nigerian mason people. All this way they will change your the switch, they will put fake things and all those things, and then you start changing all over. What you're supposed to be giving you comfort to now be giving you headache and hypertension. Suddenly your blood pressure goes up. Why? Because you have converted money to build house, and now the house is not draining you.
Yeah. Okay.
So it becomes a liability.
All right. Awesome.
So you learn to balance that. Once you're able to balance it, there's no problem.
Okay, let's take the last one for today, but this is something that we're going to continue. Mesh, if you stop sharing, I would, after this, just share one more slide. But Etini, you can unmute and then ask your question briefly. I see your hand is still up.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Ugbo and the resource person, Mr. Mesh. Okay, my question goes thus. We're talking about for people that have new businesses and you've put in everything into this business. You don't even have money to pay yourself. So let's say you schedule a salary for yourself and you're not able to pay yourself, let's say for the next 6 months. Then after 6 months, you just have some huge money coming to the business. Are you supposed to now pay yourself the backlog of the 6 months or pay for the current months? Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. I smile because I was once in that position.
I did
I
too.
was accumulating salary, accumulating, and then suddenly there was this big job we did, and they just paid us. Ah, said, yes, this is time to do that. But there is certain things you need to take care of. That money that was sent to you immediately have a purpose. There were some current things you need to do with that money. First, ensure that everything that you need that money to use for that money has been done. Then, what you now need to do is you now start scheduling the company's debt to pay them more by paying yourself. If I haven't done everything, it can accommodate the 100% of what the company is owing you as salary. Fine, pay. So that you also can have a breathing space and have confidence in running the business. Because some of us, if the business is not paying us, we lack confidence. The zeal in which we started, we start losing that zeal. So
Okay.
do that, and then what you do next is you now do what we call what I would like to just keep my mind now. I need to have it. Okay, like maybe a budget. We talk about budget later. What you do is okay, you analyze the income and say, okay, it cannot accommodate 100% of that salary. It can accommodate 40 or 50%.
Okay.
Withdraw that 50% and then use that one for now. And when the additional income comes, before you know, the consistent flow start coming in. Because you have made provision from that money, that bulk money that came, you have made provision for the future of the business. While at the same time taking care of the present and also taking care of the past, which is that salary they were owing you. So you discover that you have balanced the risk, and that is how you move forward.
Awesome. Okay.
Hope I've been able to answer your question.
Yeah, this is guys, I'm sure this has been really extremely valuable for all of us. And then I'm going to ask that we take a few minutes before we round off today, to have each of you speak to us on video here and just tell us what today has been, for you. But for now, Mesh, if people want to reach you, how do they get to you? WhatsApp, email, website. What's the easiest way for people to reach out to you if they need to?
Okay. You have my number. You can share my number with
you. Just give it to me because I'm typing it on the screen right now.
Okay. 080
00
23
I didn't hear that.
23
23
00.
What was that? 0
00
0
23
0
00 00 3533
3533. All right.
Now, for those that are outside Nigeria, there is plus 234.
Okay.
For those outside Nigeria, you do plus 234 and remove that first zero.
Okay.
First zero is fine.
All right. That's and this is also your WhatsApp number. Is that correct?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
And then the easiest email you will reach me with info. That's my info@n2andc.com. info@n2andc.com.
Okay, what we do, we'll share it because I don't get it very well, but we'll share that in the chat. But guys, you can just take a shot of his number or, just take a shot of his number and then store it in your phone so you can reach him. And of course, for many of you, you've worked with me for long enough to know that if I recommend someone, that you can go to sleep. And that's who Mesh is to me and to all the billionaire clients that he works with. So my knowledge of finance and my knowledge of running my business has significantly increased since I started dealing with him. So I'm sure he can help you, because the least every one of us can do starting from September is to have our financial statements prepared. It doesn't matter how small you are. It doesn't even matter if you're doing a turnover of 5 million or 6 million or under 10 million. You need to have your financial statements done. That's the minimum. And then the other basic minimum is that all of us should start planning to pay our taxes and to have tax clearance certificates for. Let's not do like those lucky people that he was talking about, because the truth is, if you're that wealthy and you are not paying taxes and you're not carrying out your civic responsibilities, I don't even know how you can have peace. And then again, to be honest with you, if you can't pay taxes, it will be very difficult for you to build generational wealth, because you are virtually under the radar if you don't do that. And again, the other surprising thing is you actually grow the more taxes you pay, the bigger your business grows. I do not understand how it happens, but that's the way it happens. Then again, the other thing is paying your taxes and having tax clearance gives you access to business opportunities that you typically wouldn't have been able to get. It was impossible for me to work for Stanford University without taxes. And in fact, they were so particular about it because if there's a tax liability, a tax issue, it could become an international scandal. So anybody who was working with them had to be compliant. Then I have big clients, like MTN. It's impossible to get certain job, to find yourself in MTN's supplier portal if you don't have compliance. So this actually helps you to shoot big. So it's something that I would encourage everybody here. It's an excellent exercise. Just take the next couple of months to work on your financial statements and then on your tax compliance. It will change your business. In fact, it will change your mind, your mindset, and change the way you look at your business. And when you change the way you look at your business changes. So fine now, you've already seen this published on the chat. Williams, you can also publish that again. Now, this helps us to continue to at least pay for our this comes to you, all these things we do come to you at no cost, and then we've been doing it for virtually every month, providing what I believe are the gaps in business knowledge and implementation in Nigeria. So you can get all these presentations, including the one that Mesh just did, but the one that he's yet to do, we'll carry it over to September, because this is not something I think we can finish in one evening. So the link to getting today's presentation, and then somebody had asked about how to use those ratios. The worksheet actually tells you all those ratios, what the ratios are, how to calculate it, and how to use it. So if you go to the link that is on the chat right now, that is in the chat, and I think he has also put it on the WhatsApp group. So if you click there, just make sure you use the coupon DINA, and it automatically give you 50%. So that coupon is not for everybody, but just those who are here tonight. So if you use DINA, it will show you, you'll be able to get 50% off. So you will not pay the full thing, you just pay half. And then secondly, the book that I have been waiting for, and that many people have been waiting for, is finally out. And so you are the guys getting the first information. I should have actually put it on the presentation slide here, but you will see it when you go to that same link. You're going to see that book, How to Invest and Earn in the Nigerian Stock Market. Time fails to tell you the story of how this is exactly my 20th year of playing in the Nigerian stock market. And I tell you, the thing has saved my neck. And I find that so many people don't even know what's going on in the Nigerian stock market. They don't even know the opportunities that are there. In recent times, I had bought a stock for 7 naira and 7 naira 11 kobo, and watched it go up to almost 20 naira before I think it's stabilized at 17 within a space of 6 months. I also did another stock. In fact, I did MTN when it was a little bit below 200. So, but because I keep buying, I do dollar cost averaging. I did when it was a little under 200, and then when it was a little over 200, now MTN went up to 280 before they now declared their dividend. And this is within a period of 6 months, like in half a year. 3 days ago, they paid dividends. If you invested in MTN, you would have gotten some alert. I think it was 2 days ago and things like that. So the stock market, don't ignore it. See, because it's a long-term wealth building, Williams, as I'm talking, see if you can find the link and put it there. It's a long-term wealth building thing. It's not a get-rich-quick thing. And what I've discovered is that a lot of young people, everybody's talking about Forex trading, everybody's talking about Bitcoin, everybody's talking about all these quick things. And so because of it, very few people are building wealth quietly in the stock market. So the book is out, tells you everything that you need to do, how you can open a direct market access account, so that wherever you are in the world, you can buy. Like, I don't call my stockbroker. I don't call them. I go to the market and I trade with the terminal. So I'm seeing, if I want to buy MTN, I'm seeing what people are offering. So you have bids and you have offers. So the people who want to sell are making offers, and then they make different offers. And then I look at the bids, and it helps me because I'm buying directly from the terminal. So it helps me to know, okay. Yeah, there was a time I bought BUA cement. The bid and the offer, what the market price at the time was like 98 naira. Yeah, but I saw some offers at 91 something, and I quickly went for the offer and bought it. So you'll see how to create all those accounts and which stockbrokers to sign up with and things like that, the top 10, which companies pay the most dividends. If you're interested in dividend, all that information is there, plus a lot of questions. So avail yourself of that opportunity. It's all in the link. And it's been wonderful having all of you again in this dinner. It's a pleasure for me to be able to do this, to bring this value to you free, and to bring people of value, who would, be a great blessing to your business. So what we want to do, because it's very helpful for us, we want other people to get to know what you gain here. So if you unmute, and then if you on video, and then you can get turn on your video, and then tell us about today. How has this been for you? What has it done for you? What did you gain today, and all that? So that'll be very wonderful. So if you can do that, for us. So if you want to unmute and tell us what today has been, and been for you, what's your greatest takeaway? What was your quoted in dollars? Well, it depends on where you are. It depends on Mike. It depends on where you are. Yeah, are you in Nigeria? If you are outside Nigeria, you're going to see dollars. But if you're in Nigeria, you're going to see naira. Yeah, it's picking your IP, or maybe you're using a VPN or something. Yeah, but we can sort out that later. All right, so please type in the chat. What's your greatest takeaway today? Show your gratitude, your love to Mesh and whatever, and then, but if you want to unmute and also speak, that's fantastic. So let's do that, and then we'll round off in another 3 minutes. My team and I want to make sure that we are bringing value. And so we need to hear from you, because that's the way we get to know that.
Good evening, all.
Type in the chat, or you can unmute. Yeah, okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, good evening, sir. I want to say a very big thank you for this opportunity. Incidentally, I just stumbled on it this evening around 7:30 or so. I was like, wow. I know I follow you on LinkedIn, I follow your quotes, and you've really been talking about financial liberation, financial planning, and all that, even for personal states, especially with the 50 years series. And I was one who said, no, this thing should happen from 40. We really don't need to wait till 50. And as a business owner, in recent times, I've had issues surrounding debt, issues surrounding supply issues, and all that. And this has been very eye-opening. I know how to do a lot of things better now and how to structure the business for future opportunities. That was where my take home is, because I've been wondering what next after here. In the midst of all this crisis, what do I do? Do I shut down? Do I find a way out and all that? So this has been very, very eye-opening. I'll say thank you. Thank you so much to Mesh. Thank you so much to you and every other person.
Awesome. Thank you
This.
very
I'm
much.
grateful. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We didn't get your name. We see in Phoenix.
Oh, sorry, my name.
Did we lose you? Okay. All right. Okay. Anyone else? Thank you very much.
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah, I want to join my voice with the last speaker. Financial statement is something that I've always tried doing in my company. But something I learned today is that I should be able to save an amount of money for the business. Because before now, I usually save, but actually not for the business. When rainy days come, I will just put my hand into the savings I have to survive the whatever situation I'm going through. But with today's teaching, I think it's something I have to implement from September 1st, saving for the business itself, so that when there are issues, I know where to dip my hand to collect cash. Thank you very much for today's lecture.
Awesome.
God bless you.
Thank you. You're welcome. Okay, two more and then we're done. And it's important actually hearing your voices. I want to know the people, who interact with. Yes,
Hello?
you can. Okay.
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead with Etini. Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, yeah. I want to thank Mr. Ogbo and Mr. Mesh once again. This has been very eye-opening because in my business I've been having really serious issues with tax. Set up my business some time ago, but recently I just noticed it's like all the tax people are just coming at the same time. The FIRS and the state revenue service, and they put some outrageous numbers for me to pay, very outrageous numbers, and I didn't know what to do. So this has given me an insight on how to go about it, and I believe at the end of this, I'll be able to know how to structure my business because the truth is I didn't really plan for the tax part of the business. I didn't plan for it. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your openness. That's true. In fact, when many of us started, we didn't plan for this as well. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, Famuyiwa, I can unmute and share. Famuyiwa, I see your hand up. You can unmute. Famuyiwa, okay. Okay. Okay, Fumi, you can unmute. We can get Famuyiwa. Yeah.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Ogbo and team, and thank you, Mr. Mesh. You are absolutely, doing a fantastic job, and you are definitely adding value to us. So, Mr. Ogbo will talk about, how you have a lot of information, but what are you doing about it? And honestly, the reason why I stick to this, and I make sure that I'm here is because of that implementation part. Sometimes it could really get tiring. You put in a lot of effort. I mean, Mr. Ogbo probably even know where I'm coming from. So it's really not about information, and then you wonder, what more do you have to do? But honestly, every time I come here, there's hope. There's something you can tweak, there's something you can do differently, and I do not take it for granted. Tonight, we've spoken about financial fitness, and how it is just the job of the CEO, whether you like it or not. So one thing I've said to myself, the practical aspect, I mean, the one for the financial ratios, I'm definitely going to go through every bit of it. And I think tonight that's the highlight of me, the highlight of this meeting for me. After going through that, I mean, when you talk about accountability, I do that, I do that. But I just know that it looks as if you just keep paying and paying and paying. But I think there's always a balance. So thank you very much. And definitely you're adding a lot of value. Thank you.
Thank you. So nice to hear that. Thank you so much, Fumi. Thank you. All right. So with that, I'm not sure about Fumi why you can't unmute. I'm not sure why you can't, but yeah, I hope you'll be able to do that next time. But yeah, so we'll be closing now. So I want to thank you again, Mesh, for spending this time with us and for the so much value that you brought to the meeting. And you definitely have a lot to unpack, and I'm sure that people will be contacting you between now and the next one. So during the September meeting, so Williams, you take note, we'll just continue from where we stopped. We can use the same topic, financial fitness tool, or something else that will now emphasize the practical aspect of doing these things. And then Mesh will take us through his remaining slides, and then taxation, and then practical advice for people. And I really want all of you to know how much I enjoy spending this time with you, because that's my life purpose. I really want to see big businesses grow out of this. There's absolutely no reason why we cannot run $1 billion business, each of us here. And then at some point, we're going to start some challenge, people who haven't made their first billion, people who haven't made their first 5 billion, we'll do all that, because this is all channeled toward growing our businesses. Because when we grow our businesses, we can do a lot, for the communities. We can do a lot for people. We can do a lot in terms of fulfilling our purposes in life. So thank you all very much. And then you all have a wonderful night. And then I wish you a great week ahead until we meet again at the September Business Dinner. Thank you all very much.